NoFap and confidence. Does NoFap really increase confidence? And if so, how much? Well, this is going to be interesting, and I have some important conclusions to make in the later part of the video, so make sure to stay with me all the way to the end. Scandinavian Bob here, hi. This channel is all about building a stronger self by reducing anxiety and discovering interesting self-improvement tools. So consider subscribing, click on the bell icon, and let's get going. If someone out there is going, what the hell is NoFap? Well, NoFap is the word for giving up self-stimulation and online adult entertainment as a means for self-improvement. And so now that person says, okay, great, but why in the hell would a young man in their right mind ever want to do such a thing then? Well, fair question, but calm down here, because the fact is that there are actually some really interesting benefits that can be gained by doing this. And one of the benefits is increased confidence. But the results differ from person to person, and I'll explain why in a moment. But first, let me just point out that I don't think that the word confidence is the best word to describe what NoFappers experience. Confidence means feeling sure of yourself and your abilities, and the best way to build real confidence is to gradually build up your abilities, and then the confidence will come as a byproduct of that. Now, what many NoFappers experience is increased energy with higher drive and motivation and much more aggressiveness in combination with giving less of a what other people think of them. Sure, we can use the word confidence for this, but as you can see, it has more depth than that. By the way, all those traits is something that, for example, fighters have known for decades. It's no secret anymore that many of the elite boxers abstain a few weeks before an important fight. And given those traits I just mentioned, well, that's very understandable. So, let's take a look at why the confidence results on NoFap may differ from person to person. To establish a baseline without any supernormal stimuli, let's think of a farmer that lived, say, 300 years ago. Life was rough, but he was a hard-working badass. He did not have a wife or girlfriend, so he used self-stimulation, let's say once every 7 days or so. So not that much at all. Okay, so then we have person B, the next line here, where we have a modern man who faps about 2 to 3 times a week while using online adult entertainment. He's not yet addicted to it because he hasn't developed addiction-related brain changes. Then we have a line down here, and let's say that's a 22-year-old male who is fapping to online adult entertainment almost on a daily basis. He has done it for some time and he has developed a real addiction to it. Now, before I continue with person A, B, and C, let's first take a look at why we might experience increased confidence when we do NoFap in the first place. Well, you see, studies made on rats show that busting a lot of nuts causes temporary reduced androgen receptors. Now, the androgen receptors are what sucks up the testosterone, and by having more of those receptors, you can better utilize whatever levels of testosterone you happen to have in your body. Now, as most of you already know, the effects of testosterone are increased energy, higher drive, more motivation, aggressiveness in combination with giving less of a what other people think of them. Does those benefits sound familiar? Yep, you got it. And when looking at person C here, then obviously he has downregulated androgen receptors. I must point out that except on day 7, NoFap does not cause an increase in testosterone levels themselves, so that's actually a myth. But according to the study I just mentioned, the androgen receptors will grow back and increase by abstaining. So simply put, one could say that doing NoFap and abstaining makes our bodies more effective at using whatever testosterone we have, and thus the effects are the same as if testosterone itself would be higher. But there is more going on, because when a person is using a lot of supernormal stimuli like online adult entertainment, he will also knock out some of his dopamine receptors, especially if he's addicted to it. Then the receptors will really suffer. And just like the androgen receptors, the dopamine receptors are what makes you feel whatever dopamine you are producing. So both person B and person C are going to have less dopamine receptors as well, especially person C. Now, there could be more interesting biological things going on with NoFap that we do not yet know anything about, but these two are the big ones for sure. Perhaps semen retention and the body recycling it also increase energy and confidence in some way we do not yet know the science behind, but let's keep an open mind to it. Okay, so now look at the screen again. Let's draw a fourth line where the optimal benefits of NoFap show themselves. Well, look at how different the benefits must feel for person A, B and C, as person C will experience a huge lift in his life compared to person A, and then person B is somewhere in between. All of them gained increased energy, aggressiveness and confidence, but the change on person C must have felt like he gained some kind of superpowers, as he was so far down to begin with. So we have to take those things into account when some people say, there's no such thing as superpowers, that's all a bunch of BS. We should also keep in mind that in real life there are people all over the place in between all of those lines, and this is of course one reason why so many people experience the benefits differently. Now, I have to point out that for those who are addicted, like person C, well, it will also take much longer for them to start seeing any benefits, as it takes time for the brain to rebalance. And so now some of you may go, this is just some stupid BS, I'm going to continue to fap. Well, go right ahead. There is no law saying that you have to be on NoFap to become confident and successful. People who are doing NoFap should respect the fact that not everyone likes to be on this NoFap journey. And likewise, people who are not doing NoFap should respect the ones who do. Using NoFap as a means to try to improve oneself is not stupid. In fact, it's a wise thing to do. I mean, of course some people want those benefits, right? Now, I seriously do believe that if you are really addicted to fapping and online adult entertainment, then it will hold you back in life. For example, the downregulated dopamine receptors are just one thing that makes life more difficult. If addicted, there are also other brain changes going on, like hypofrontality, sensitized pathways, and so on. But if someone are happily fapping in moderation without seeing any negative side effects and they do not want to be on this NoFap journey, then no problem. Again, we have to be respectful to each other here and be careful not to get into some cult-like extreme thinking. Thank you for watching, and always remember that you are a warrior in your own life. And if you keep walking the warrior's journey, good things will come to you. This is Scandinavian Bob signing out for today, and remember, as Winston Churchill used to say, if you're going through hell, keep going.